Hello, YouTube. Hello, my YouTube gods who are here to check if I do my homework daily. Thank you. And eventually, hello to listeners of these videos of me experimenting, carving my own way on this journey of self-studying towards becoming a licensed, registered massage therapist. So today was my first day of self-study where I did not rely on going to physical school with other students and instructors around me. I had a 4-hour session this morning from 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. with a short break in the middle where I first of all just organized some of the material, just simply downloaded the textbooks and the worksheets from the source that I have from my first year of studying at Makami Massage College in Calgary, Alberta. And then I actually dove into reading the chapter on muscle physiology, as well as doing a knowledge quiz online and going over multiple choice questions, just so I could focus on something particular, because actually reading the textbook was frustrating. There's a lot of material that is presented in a very linear fashion, and it seems like the only way I could possibly get it is to memorize it. But in fact, the little breakthrough that I had is the sense that I've had for a long time, but finally I am feeling my own freedom to integrate this theoretical knowledge in the way that I actually want to, in the way that is relevant to me. And that is with the help of a very simple question. How does the theory that I learn actually apply to my experience of touching someone? How does me knowing that skeletal muscles and cardiac muscles are striated muscles and the smooth muscles are not striated muscles? Why do I care? Why is it important? And if I read the textbook material and keep that question in mind, if I were to touch the skeletal muscle and if I were to touch the smooth muscle, how would they feel different to my touch? What is the quality of the tissue actually present on my fingers, on my hands? And that got me into a spiral of kind of connecting the dots of what I already know. For example, that skeletal muscles and cardiac muscles, for that matter, they have a directionality to them. And it's because they use those striated parts to contract and stretch. So, and the fact that they have to contract together and then go in the opposite direction, exactly, it implies that there's a directionality to striated muscle. Where to the smooth muscle, it kind of just floats in one space, and it maybe grows bigger and then grows smaller, but it doesn't exactly have a particular direction that it would travel. It would kind of, I assume that it would stay on the spot and just expand and then contract to become smaller. And also the skeletal muscle and the cardiac muscle are uh, the skeletal muscle is governed by the somatic system. So in classic physiology, it means that it's voluntary. I can choose to shorten my fingers or lengthen them. Where with the cardiac muscle and the smooth muscle, assumably, I don't have control over it, so they're involuntary muscles and thus are controlled by the autonomic nervous system. And even simply with that, the fact that the skeletal muscle is governed by the somatic nervous system, like it implies that the kind of touch that I would apply to it might get my own sense quality of autonomic system involved. For example, I would usually when I touch skeletal muscle, I provide a lot of force and directionality to movement. I go into the muscle to really create change to the fascia, to the direction of the fibers, because I want the direction of flow, how the force is distributed to go towards a more efficient pathway. Where if I were to touch smooth muscles, for example, I would touch a blood, I don't know if anyone can see, like a blood vessel, or even the skin. The skin has a lot of smooth muscles, and the hair follicles everywhere, they have smooth muscles, as well as the kind of the hollow viscera of the organs. The fact that like those smooth muscles and sphincter muscles, like on the eyes and the anus, for example, and the lips, they're all considered smooth muscle. Though I don't know about the sphincter muscle of the mouth for sure. But yeah, it's like those tiny kind of tissue that is usually when I touch it, it feels really soft. Yeah, it's there's not a lot of tone to it, and it's governed by the autonomic system. And usually, like we want our organs and like the tissue that surrounds it to be in this permeable, soft, like gooey, like state. So the way I would touch it would be much lighter versus touching the skeletal muscle with a lot of force and strength in order to correct its directionality. With the smooth muscle, for example, when I touch the blood vessels or when I do lymphatic drainage massage, I just want to create movement of fluids along the body. I want things to flow, but in a smoother quality. It's much more gentle. So this is an example of me thinking, how does me knowing that there's skeletal, cardiac, and smooth muscles, and me just like having the three names in my memory, which will not last. If I were to surround it with this question of how does me knowing that these three types exist and that some of them are striated, some of them are non-striated, and the fact that some of them are governed by somatic nervous system, another one is guided by autonomic nervous system. Kind of those aspects of those three types of muscle give me a sense that I would use different quality of touch. I would need to have a different skill developed for either touching a skeletal muscle or a smooth muscle, for example. And right away, because it's integrated with the actual thing, with the actual skill that I'll be using, it actually sticks. And stuff like that, it takes like years of actual practice to integrate this material, but I know I'm at the time where I'm frustrated to be sitting and memorizing for the sake of sitting and memorizing. Like I have like the actual craving to apply critical thinking of connecting the dots, connecting the unconnectable together. I guess, yeah, this is it for now. Tomorrow I'll be studying for 4 hours in the morning again, and we'll see what happens, what resistance comes my way, what works and what doesn't. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks to me for doing this work. Oh, I'm so happy. Yeah, makes me feel relevant and useful. Hopefully, eventually, one day, this material would be relevant and useful for you as well. Thank you. Enjoy.